Caught my husband texting his work wife at 2 a.m., so I played along, let him think he was in control, then exposed him in front of his entire office, took half his savings, and left him jobless and alone. My name doesn't matter. I was married to Brad for 14 years. We had a pretty normal life on the surface. Nice house in Chattanooga, Tennessee. No kids. 2 cars, 1 dog. I was working part-time from home doing freelance environmental research, and Brad ran his own financial consulting firm. I helped him get it off the ground, wrote his proposals, handled his books until he could afford a real accountant, even managed his social media when he had no idea how hashtags worked. I was his support system from the start. He told me I was his rock, the one person he could trust. I believed him. Brad started getting more successful around year 6 of our marriage. More clients, more money, new suits, flashy watch. Started calling his car the Benz even though it was a lease. And then came the late nights. The mysterious texts, the phone calls he always took in the garage. I brought it up a few times, and he'd always say the same thing. Work stuff, babe. You wouldn't get it. So I let it go. Until that night. It was a Wednesday. I remember because he had come home unusually late and made some excuse about drinks with a client. I didn't argue. I just went to bed. Around 2 a.m., his phone buzzed. Once, then again. Then 3 times in a row. He was snoring. The screen lit up. I glanced at it without even thinking. The contact name said Monica, work wife, and the message said, miss you already. Same time next week. I stared at that screen for a full minute. Then I picked up his phone and unlocked it. He had changed the passcode a few months back. What he didn't know was I had watched him enter it in the rearview mirror once. He used our anniversary. Real original. I opened their text thread. My stomach tightened with every scroll. Hundreds of messages. Some emotional. Some sexual. Some just stupid. Inside jokes, memes, flirting. They had nicknames for each other. She called him Boss Daddy. He called her Little Fox. I wanted to throw up. But I didn't. I put the phone back exactly where it was, rolled over, and closed my eyes. I didn't sleep. I planned. The next day, I acted like nothing happened. Kissed him on the cheek. Made him coffee. Watched him leave for work like usual. Then I opened my laptop and started backing up every message I could get from his phone. Screenshots, email forwards, even synced the iCloud to my old iPad and downloaded copies of all their photos and files. I found hotel receipts in Atlanta, dinner bookings in Nashville. I made a folder and called it insurance. I saved everything to a USB drive and hid it inside a box of tampons in the bathroom drawer because I knew he'd never look there. I also hired a private investigator. Cost me a good chunk of savings, but it was worth it. The guy was old school. Quiet. Sharp. Ex-cop. He followed Brad and Monica for 2 weeks and gave me everything. Photos. Videos. One clip showed them leaving a hotel and kissing in broad daylight like they had nothing to hide. Another one had Brad pulling her onto his lap in his car while they laughed and shared fries. I asked for timestamps. He gave me everything. I didn't confront Brad. That was never the plan. I didn't want him to stop. I wanted him to get comfortable. I wanted him to think I was clueless. I wanted him to believe he was winning. Because the bigger they feel, the harder they fall. I started preparing the pieces. Brad's firm hosts an annual client banquet in October. Huge event. Held at the Marriott downtown. Lots of important people. Local politicians, bankers, corporate partners. He dresses like it's the Oscars. Makes a speech every year thanking his team and me. Always ends with some cheesy quote about loyalty and trust. This year I told him I didn't want to go. Said I was too tired. Told him I'd stay home and let him enjoy his big night. He bought it, smiled and said he understood. I saw the way his face lit up. Probably imagined spending the night with Monica in a hotel room without having to lie about it. I contacted the hotel 3 weeks in advance. Spoke to the AV team and told them I wanted to surprise Brad with a tribute video during his speech. I used my name and paid in advance. I handed them a USB drive and gave them instructions on when to play it. Told them I'd be watching remotely and would text them the cue. There were 2 files on the USB. One was a clean, professional video with photos of Brad's career highlights, some praise from clients, and a nice instrumental track. That one was labeled Presentation Final. The other was labeled Do Not Use. That was the real one. It was 3 minutes long. It showed screenshots of text messages between Brad and Monica. Photos of them kissing in parking lots. Hotel invoices. GPS timestamps. It even ended with a voice recording Monica had left him one night when she was drunk, saying, "Your wife is boring. You deserve someone who makes you feel alive." I texted the AV guy the moment Brad stood up to give his speech. From what I heard, the room went silent when the video started. At first, people thought it was a joke. Then came the photos. Then the messages. One person told me later that Monica tried to leave halfway through, but someone blocked her path. Brad just stood there, frozen, hands shaking. When it ended, I had included a final message on the screen. To Monica, you can have him. To Brad, you can keep your lies. I'm keeping everything else. I wasn't there to see it. I didn't need to be. The explosion was loud enough without me in the room. I filed for divorce the next morning. After I filed for divorce, I went quiet. Brad tried calling. Texted me over 30 times that day. At first it was shock. Then came the apologies. Then the begging. He said he didn't know how the video got there. Said he was blindsided. Told me it was just a fling. Told me I was overreacting. That we could fix it. He even sent flowers. I didn't reply. Not once. Instead, I stayed busy. I met with my lawyer. A good one. A woman who didn't flinch when I showed her everything I had. She told me the PI's reports and the digital evidence made my case solid. Tennessee's an equitable distribution state, but adultery still matters when it comes to negotiating terms. I told her I wanted the house, half his savings, and enough leverage to make him sweat. She asked if I wanted alimony. I said no. I didn't want $1 from him that had Monica's perfume on it. I just wanted to hit him where it hurt. That same week, I started noticing something weird. I got a call from one of Brad's clients. A woman named Cheryl. She'd always been kind to me. She sounded nervous on the phone. Said she wanted to check on me. I thanked her and told her I was fine. Before she hung up, she said, "You should know. Brad's been saying some things. About you. About the video." That got my attention. A few days later, another call. This time from a man named Greg, former partner of Brad's firm. He didn't mince words. He said Brad had been telling people I hacked his phone. That I faked the messages. That I had a history of mental health problems and was obsessively jealous. According to Brad, the video was a deepfake. A digital attack from an unstable wife. I laughed when I heard it, but only for a second. Because I realized what he was doing. He was trying to paint me as the crazy ex-wife. The unstable woman scorned. He knew his image was broken, so he was trying to control the narrative. Turn me into the villain. Protect his business. That's when I decided to stop being quiet. I went to a friend who worked in local PR. Asked her for help. She owed me a favor from years ago. I sent her the full folder of evidence. The real timestamps. The PI's files. The raw audio files. I told her I didn't want to start a war. I wanted to tell the truth. She helped me write a statement. We posted it anonymously on a local business forum where most of Brad's clients hung out. It didn't say his name. Just the story. A successful woman who helped her husband build his firm from the ground up, only to find out he had betrayed her with an employee. Included was proof. Photos. Texts. Records. Within a day, it was the most clicked thread on the site. By the end of the week, I got another call. This time from one of Brad's junior partners. He said, "I don't know what he told you, but I believe you. Half the staff has already started looking for other jobs. Clients are backing away." Then came the best part. Monica messaged me. I had blocked her on everything, but she found me on LinkedIn. She didn't even apologize. She accused me of ruining her career. Said she'd been humiliated. Said people were calling her names. That she might have to move away. That I overreacted and made it too personal. I didn't reply to her either. But then she made a mistake. She posted something on Instagram. A screenshot of an old message Brad had sent her. In it, he called me a parasite and said I was just a starter wife until something better came along. The caption under the post was, "He upgraded. Deal with it." That post went viral in town. She deleted it within an hour, but it was too late. Screenshots were already everywhere. Her name was done. Clients dropped her. She was forced to resign. I heard she went to stay with her sister in Florida. Brad tried to save face, but no one wanted to work with him anymore. When he showed up at a networking event, people literally turned their backs. One client called him, "that guy from the slideshow." A month later, I got served. Brad had filed a countersuit. He accused me of defamation, digital theft, and emotional damages. He actually hired a lawyer to say I had ruined his professional life with a malicious smear campaign. I smiled when I got the papers. I handed them to my lawyer, who read them and rolled her eyes. She filed a countersuit to his countersuit. Claimed emotional distress, economic abuse, and public slander. She added every receipt, every photo, every file. I wasn't afraid of court. I was ready. But the real twist came during discovery. My lawyer got access to some of Brad's business records through court. Turns out he had been siphoning money into a private account, money that was supposed to be joint income. He'd been hiding funds, lying on taxes, and even made payments to Monica from company funds marked as contractor services. That gave us even more power. And then something strange happened. I got a message on Facebook. It was from a woman named Eliza. She said she used to date Brad before we got married. She said she saw the story going around and felt like she had to say something. She told me that Brad had done the same thing to her. Cheated, lied, manipulated her into silence. Said she thought he'd changed, but apparently not. Then I got another message. And another. 3 women. All of them said the same thing. Brad had been this way since college. Charming, arrogant, always looking for the next best thing. He had a pattern. They thought I should know. I forwarded all of that to my lawyer too. At this point, Brad was drowning. His staff was down to 3 people. His firm was under audit. His lawyer tried to settle quietly. He offered me the house and some cash to drop the public case. I said no. I wanted it all in writing. I wanted it in court. Brad's legal team started falling apart. The lawyer he hired for the countersuit backed out after realizing the mountain of evidence I had on him. The judge denied his defamation claim in the first hearing. His attempts to paint me as unstable didn't stick. The court didn't care about his emotional sob stories when they saw the hotel receipts and the audio clips. But here's where things got really messy. During the financial audit triggered by our case, something unexpected surfaced. My lawyer flagged a series of transfers Brad had made to an account in another state, North Carolina. The account was under the name M. Rivers. At first, we assumed it was Monica. But then we dug deeper. Monica's last name wasn't Rivers. So who the hell was M. Rivers? I couldn't let it go. I hired the PI again. He did some digging, made some calls. A week later, he came back with something that knocked the wind out of me. M. Rivers was a woman named Melanie Rivers. She lived in Asheville. 34 years old. Hairdresser. Single mother. 2 kids. And Brad was listed as the emergency contact on both of their school forms. I stared at the report for a long time before I could speak. I thought I was angry before. But this was something else. I had never heard of her. He never mentioned any trips to Asheville. Never said he was volunteering or helping anyone. But there it was, bank records showing monthly transfers. Hotel stays. A couple of Facebook photos where Brad's arm was around her waist, cropped just enough not to show his face. But I knew that watch. I bought him that watch. I didn't tell my lawyer yet. I wanted to confirm it for myself. So I called her. I pretended to be a potential client looking for a haircut. I booked an appointment under a fake name. Drove the 2.5 hours to Asheville. Sat in her chair. And listened. She was friendly. Sweet, actually. Talked about her kids a lot. Her little girl had a science fair coming up. Her son played baseball. I asked about the father, casually. She hesitated, then smiled and said, "He's not around all the time, but he helps. Comes down when he can. Sends money." I asked his name. She said, "Brad. He works in finance." I nodded slowly, looked her right in the eye. Then I said, "He's my husband." She froze. Her hands stopped moving. I watched her face drop. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. I pulled out my phone and showed her a wedding photo. She stared at it like it was a horror movie. She whispered, "He told me you died." My heart went cold. She said he met her 5 years ago. Claimed he was a widower. Said his wife died in a car accident. That he was lonely. That he wasn't ready to move on, but she made him feel alive again. She never questioned the money. Or the fact that he never stayed the night. She thought he was just damaged. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just told her the truth. That we were still legally married. That he was cheating on both of us. That he was dragging me through a public legal mess while lying to her about everything. She sat down and cried. I gave her space. I told her she could reach out if she ever wanted to testify or submit a statement. Then I left. On the drive home, I replayed everything in my head. The lies. The stories. The double life. The second family. I thought I had already uncovered everything, but Brad had outdone himself. He wasn't just a cheater. He was living 2 separate lives. And I had proof of both. When I told my lawyer, she almost dropped her coffee. She added it all to the case file. New evidence. Financial fraud. Misuse of company funds. Multiple false identities. She said this was no longer just a divorce. It was turning into something criminal. But Brad wasn't done digging. 2 days later, my sister called me, crying. Someone had emailed her fake photos of me with another man. Said I had been cheating on Brad the whole time. The email was anonymous, but the files were sloppy. Poor Photoshop jobs with mismatched shadows. My sister didn't believe it for a second, but she was scared. That same night, someone slashed my tires. I had cameras on my driveway. The footage showed a man in a hoodie, face mostly covered, doing it and running. I sent it to the police. Then I sent it to my lawyer. She sent a cease and desist to Brad's attorney the next morning. The police filed a report, but couldn't ID the guy. Still, the timing was too convenient. We added it to the list of intimidation tactics. Brad's spiral continued. His office lease was terminated. Word was going around that he was under IRS investigation now, thanks to the shady payments. Monica never showed her face in town again. Melanie sent a statement to my lawyer admitting that Brad had lied to her about everything, including me being dead. She even submitted the kids' school forms with his name on them. That's when Brad disappeared. Literally. He stopped showing up to court. Stopped responding to legal notices. Even his lawyer said he had lost contact with him. My PI tracked his last known location to a rental cabin near Gatlinburg. He had checked in under a fake name, paid in cash, then vanished. No forwarding address. No new job. Just gone. We proceeded without him. It took 3 more weeks before anyone found him. Turns out Brad had been hiding in his dead uncle's trailer outside Pigeon Forge. No phone. No internet. Just off the grid. But money runs out fast when you're paying everything in cash and dodging court. A neighbor saw his car and called it in. That's how the PI found him. That's how we finally got a location for the sheriff's office to serve him in person. His court hearing was scheduled for the following week. And he showed up. I didn't expect that. I honestly thought he'd run again. But there he was, walking into the courtroom in an old wrinkled suit, no tie, looking thinner, tired, like life had finally caught up to him. His lawyer had quit by then, so he stood alone. I sat across the room, surrounded by my legal team. My sister was there too, arms crossed, glaring at him. So was Melanie. She flew in from Asheville with her 2 kids, who stayed in the hallway with her mom. Monica didn't show. Word was she moved to Texas and blocked every number with his area code. When the judge read through the charges: fraud, misappropriation of funds, hidden income, violation of spousal financial transparency, Brad didn't say a word. Not once. Just stood there, staring at the floor. Then the judge asked if he had anything to say. He nodded, asked to approach the bench and speak. He wasn't allowed to go that close, but they gave him a mic. And for the first time in this whole nightmare, he looked at me. Not the judge. Not the lawyers. Just me. His voice cracked. He said I was a coward. I don't know why I did it. I kept looking for more. For something different. Someone who looked at me like I mattered. But I already had that. I had it with you, and I threw it away. Nobody spoke. The courtroom was dead silent. He kept going. He said, I lied to everyone. I told Monica I was divorced. I told Melanie you were dead. I told myself none of it mattered as long as I didn't get caught. And then when I did, I tried to twist it like I always do. I ruined my name, my career. And worst of all, I ruined you. He wiped his eyes. Then looked down again. The judge didn't react. She just cleared her throat and continued with the ruling. The court granted me the full house, half the remaining savings, a lien against his company assets, and a formal no-contact order. They also referred his case to the DA for potential criminal fraud charges, pending a state audit. Melanie was also given the green light to pursue child support through the proper channels, now that paternity was being questioned. As soon as the gavel hit, Brad slumped back into his chair like his bones had given out. Outside the courtroom, he tried to speak to me. My lawyer stepped in between us, but I waved her off. He looked smaller. Not just thinner, less. Like whatever charm he used to have had been burned off in the fire. He said, I don't expect you to forgive me. I looked him in the eye and said, good, because I don't. He nodded. Looked like he was going to say something else. But he didn't. He just walked away. Didn't look back. Melanie came over after and hugged me. She apologized again. I told her not to. She was a victim in this too. Her daughter ran up to her and asked if they were going to see Uncle Brad. Melanie just bent down and said, not anymore, baby. Then they left. My sister said, you didn't just burn the bridge. You nuked it. I said, it needed to be done. That night, I sat in the quiet house and let myself feel everything. I felt tired. Not sad. Not broken. Just tired. I thought about the years I gave him. The loyalty. The patience. The way I had trusted him with everything. And how he had twisted it, step by step, into something I didn't recognize. I thought about all the times I stayed silent. All the times I chose peace over conflict. How I should have left when I saw the first red flag. But I didn't. Because I loved him. Because I believed in him. That part of me is gone now. And maybe that's for the best. I don't know what Brad's future looks like. I don't care. Last I heard, he's couch surfing with an old college friend in Memphis, looking for work under a different name. His firm is gone. His reputation's in the trash. And so is every version of the life he built on lies. As for me, I'm healing. Slowly, one piece at a time. I started therapy. Adopted another dog. I signed up for a hiking group and I've been spending weekends out in the Smokies. I even went out for coffee with someone new. Nothing serious. Just kind, easy, honest. The past still follows me sometimes. I get flashbacks when I pass by the restaurant where I saw that first text. I still can't look at a black Mercedes without feeling my chest tighten. But I'm getting better at breathing through it. I don't know if I'll ever trust that deep again. But I trust myself now. That's something. If I've learned anything, it's that betrayal doesn't just rip your life apart. It shows you who you really are. What you'll stand for. What you'll burn down if you have to. I stood in the middle of a fire I didn't start. And I walked out whole.